moving on. Well, we got little Miss Carmela joining. She was taking her nap. How you doing, Mama? Doing good? Hey, Mamas. All right. Euclid or Euclid? I'm gonna say Euclid. Named after the Greek mathematician who lived around 300 BC and founded the subject of geometry. So, what is this thing? They launched a new satellite into space, took a couple of photos. What's okay? They're always launching stuff into space. Why should I care about this? Well, this particular mission by the European Space Agency is designed to help us find more info about a topic that we have not really had any or a good enough understanding of, and that is dark energy and dark matter. It's what makes up the majority of our universe, and we have yet to really understand what it is exactly. So, the mission objectives. Euclid is designed to explore the evolution of the dark universe. It will make a 3D map of the universe with time as the third dimension by observing billions of galaxies out to 10 billion light years across more than a third of the sky. While dark energy accelerates the expansion of the universe and dark matter governs the growth of cosmic structures, scientists remain unsure about what dark energy and dark matter actually are. By observing the universe evolving over the past 10 billion years, Euclid will reveal how it has expanded and how structure has formed over cosmic history. And from this, astronomers can infer the properties of dark energy, dark matter, and gravity to reveal more about their precise nature. Some key questions. What is the structure and history of the cosmic web? What is the nature of dark matter? How has the expansion of the universe changed over time? What is the nature of dark energy? Is our understanding of gravity complete? Key questions right there. Hopefully this mission will be able to answer them. But to talk about the spacecraft, it's approximately 4.7 meters tall and 3.7 meters in diameter. And it will be a service module and a payload module. And the payload will comprise of a 1.2 meter diameter telescope and two scientific instruments, a couple of cameras on it. The service module contains satellite systems, electric power generation and distribution, attitude control, data processing, electronics, propulsion, telecommand and telemetry, and thermal control. Okay. Continue on. It'll be launched. It has already been launched. It is already in space. Yeah, so it's a cosmology survey mission optimized to determine the properties of dark energy and dark matter on universal scales. It'll take images in optical and near infrared light. These images will eventually cover more than 1/3 of the extragalactic sky outside the Milky Way and depict billion of cosmic targets out to a distance where light has taken up to 10 billion years to reach us. Okay. So let's look at the first images released. This is 7/11. So this is a while ago. Euclid, our dark universe detective, has a difficult task to investigate how dark matter and dark energy have made our universe look like it does today. Okay. Look at some of these images. This is the Horsehead Nebula. You can see how beautiful that is right there. You can read right here. If you remember, I don't know if I've shown it here, but the James Webb Space Telescope took this pretty much exact same photo. Approximately 1,375 light years away. Horsehead, visible as a dark cloud shaped like a horse's head, is the closest giant star-forming region to Earth. It sits just south of the star Alnitak, the easternmost of Orion's famous three-star belt, and is part of the vast Orion molecular cloud. Very cool, very cool. So that's our first. I don't want to zoom in. Very, very cool. So yeah, this thing is out there. Here we go. Let's get some more images. I mean, just cluster of galaxies. You can see in some ways, some parts of it, there is some gravitational lensing. Beautiful galaxy right here. And I mean, for 1 second, when I see stuff like this and I mean, in this one picture alone, billions of galaxies right here, billions of stars at the least. This is one of the things where I could sit here and I can look at this and I just think, like, on any one of those, is somebody looking back at us? Is somebody out there who's having the same thoughts that I'm having of, are we alone? And if we aren't, how can we say what's up to each other? Imagine if you could show an alien that comes to our planet, show him LeBron James Miami Heat highlights. And it would be like it wouldn't speak English, right? But I mean, that'd be something we'd have to teach them, I assume. I mean, unless they got Google Translate that was created on their planet, whatever translate, but I digress. I think it would be very cool to interact with these other civilizations. But looking at a picture like this reminds me that the chances of us being alone are, I don't know, 50-50. We either are or we aren't. There's two answers. And looking back at an image like this where I can see just exactly in one little piece of space, there's billions of potential situations where it could have at one point or sometime in the future created life similar to what we have here on Earth. And on these planets, they have a different history than we do here. They don't have the extinction of the dinosaurs, which reset humanity back. They don't have, which I talked about on the last podcast, the early addition of agriculture and the addition of livestock and animals onto farms to help with crops and meat and all that kind of stores, bringing dangerous pathogens to humans at a early part where many of them were not able to fight back against it. And so that cascaded and started this rainfall of diseases to go all through our bloodline, of diseases to travel down from generation to generation and wipe out entire civilizations. On some of these planets that we're looking at right here, or some of these galaxies or star systems, there could be just one. Just one is enough for me. Just one of these images, you can pick one out and just imagine that orbiting around one of these tiny specks of light is another place similar to our home here. And that gives me a lot of hope, because I really don't want to feel alone out here. And I hope with missions like Euclid, we can see far out into the cosmos and we can really ponder and really question, are we actually alone? Because the answer to that question is one of the number one things in my life, one of the things that's the most important to me. Because that is the question that answers a lot of people's questions. Why do bad things happen to good people? Are we alone? Is my particular religious belief right or wrong? I hope with this mission and many other missions in the future, the James Webb Space Telescope, I talked about an exoplanet that the James Webb saw that has very high probability of water and it's in the habitable range, and there is a potential for life on that planet because we have evidence of byproducts of life in the atmosphere that we've observed. So uh, I think it's an exciting time in science, and I think it's something that I unfortunately am not good enough speaker to be able to put into words just how important I believe it is for us to take a minute and look at images such as this one. And just for a second, imagine that on one of these dots, there's something orbiting around it. And on one of those little tiny things, there's somebody with a telescope pointed right back at this image. On the other side, looking back, and maybe they're asking the same question. Are we alone? What is my existence? And to them, they don't know that in one particular area, there's this place that we call Earth. And there's a civilization with beautiful people here. There's death, there's destruction, there's war, there's horrible things that happen here. But there's also amazing things. There's food shelters, there's homeless clinics, there's churches, there's things that do so many great for our citizens and for our other people. There's marriage, there's people who fall in love, who have children, who start families, people who sacrifice themselves for other people, whether you're a nurse or an EMT or something where you're sacrificing your time to help other people out, even if it comes at the degradation of yourself. I don't know if that's something that happens on other planets. I don't know if they've created an infrastructure such as healthcare. I don't know. Maybe that's something that is just simply something that we on Earth do, where we take care of our others. Yes, of course, obviously our healthcare system is very flawed, and I'm certainly not smart enough to talk about it, but the fact that there are people who will sacrifice 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 hours out of their week to be in a hospital and help people who are sick and dying and have horrible diseases, or researchers who are trying to find the cure to diseases that have killed millions of people. Is it something that only happens on this planet? Or is one of these little dots that are in this image right here, is one of those possibility? Or is there a possibility that on one of these dots there is a planet orbiting around where they take care of their people, where they love their people? Maybe they do it in a different way than us. Maybe they have figured out a way to have a perfect medical system. And I hope that they would share that information with us, because I think that's really the only way we keep this civilization moving forward, is if we come in contact with an outside force. We come in contact with one of the civilizations that's in this image right here. And there could be a civilization right in this image. We just don't know it. And maybe they're trying to communicate with us, but maybe they're either too far ahead of us or too far behind us. And we're just not existing at the exact same time, or not at the right time. Our radio waves are still getting put out. Our television signals are still getting put out. Our radio waves started in 1920, only about 100 years ago. Before that, there was no radio waves being put out by Earth. There's no signals being put out of television broadcasts putting out to the universe, and it's only traveled about 100 light years from our current location. So it's very easy to imagine that in this image there could be dozens, there could be hundreds of civilizations that are more advanced than we are, and they have yet no idea that we exist. And certainly in my lifetime, I don't think we'll ever come in contact with another civilization. And that's unfortunate, but I hope one of the things that I do is I really help inspire people to think about this, have these thoughts. It's scary to think that we might be alone, that maybe this whole journey around our little star that we fly around, maybe there is not really that much meaning. Maybe we're just here. We're just a collection of cells in a body. And there is no bigger meaning. There is no higher power, which I'm not saying I agree or disagree with, but that certainly is a possibility, that there is nothing after this life. But I hope that having conversations like this can help people appreciate that, appreciate what we now have, appreciate what our society has accomplished thus far. And there's a long, long way to go. But we have to be appreciative that we're here, that we're not living in the 1400s, where if you got an infection on your hand from a cut, you're done. You don't know to wash your hands. You don't know to clean. You don't have proper sewage. I mean, life was awful. And I bet in 3, 4, 500 years from now that people will look back and be like, what were they doing in 2023? They were still fighting wars. They were still, I mean, anything you can think about what's going wrong in today's world. They still had natural disasters. They didn't figure out how to control the weather. I mean, it's so easy to stop an earthquake. They just had this one thing off right here, and unfortunately, that ended the lives of millions of people. They didn't figure it out. Or nuclear fusion or nuclear fission. Why didn't they build giant nuclear reactors to power their society? Well, it's because of the 40s and us dropping nuclear bombs on people, which I've talked about here as well, and particularly in the context of the Oppenheimer movie, which I still think is a good, solid movie. I don't know. I hope we're not alone. I hope. I hope. But one of the things that I like to do at nighttime, because on Mondays and Tuesdays I work very late, and it's midnight, and when I'm at work I'll walk outside, because like I'll have something in my car or something, or I want to just kind of look out. And I'm obviously in Pittsburgh here, so the light pollution is pretty heavy here, but I can still very easily see the bright glow of where a planet is. Last night I spent about 5 minutes just looking up at Jupiter and just thinking, like, if that wasn't there, I'm not going to be here. And if that's not there, then this other thing's not there. And there's a cascade of events that just so happen to allow us to be here on Earth and allowed for me to have a job where, in exchange for doing something that I enjoy, I get money into an account and I'm able to pay bills. And just looking up at the stars, and especially looking at an image like this, I just wonder, is anybody looking back? Is there somebody out there who's having the same longing for a connection with a different civilization as myself? Longing for another society that we could share ideas with? I don't know. I wish there was clear, concrete evidence of life elsewhere, and that we could visit it, and that we could communicate with it, and we could collaborate with it, and bring about peace and come together to advance the best of our societies. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen in my lifetime, but I think it will happen at some point. And when it does, I hope the people that are in charge are up to snuff. I hope they're able to handle that immense challenge. Fortunately, I don't know if I am. And I don't think they would task me to talk to the aliens. I mean, I, I, I don't know if I'm qualified for that or if they would think I'm qualified for that. But I do hope that at some point, before the civilization gets to a point of where we're in all out nuclear war, a mass pandemic, or a mass asteroid hits our planet, that we can figure out how to expand our civilization outwards, reach out to other civilizations, collaborate with them so that we can continue to multiply and spread the best things about our society throughout space, throughout the solar system, throughout our galaxy, and throughout the universe. That's what I hope. I don't think that's going to happen, though. I think we're going to get CEOs of companies that are artificial intelligence, and they're going to lie and they're going to do things purposefully to increase profits and as a result hurt people. And unfortunately, that's the way our world works at this current junction. Maybe it's not exactly what one would have desired.